What's up guys? So today I'm going to do a review of this week's pack, and you can see I actually have my hands on Berbatov, so we'll start off with him. So yesterday I did a really long stream. We played for 10 hours and I got 30 games played with Berbatov, 46 goals and 10 assists. He actually was averaging 2 goals a game for about 20 games, so he was on 20 games of 40 goals. Did slow down a little bit, but he was very good. I'm very happy with him. These are the skills I went for on him. I think there's one skill there I wouldn't go for, or rather not one skill I wouldn't go for, but one skill I'd consider instead. Long range curler I'd probably consider taking out for long range shooting, but I'll get into the clips and show you why later. Here is one of the builds I was using. There's a few different builds I have. The reason this one is 91 finishing is just because we have the 85 finishing plus 3. Usually I only go 90 finishing, but you also get 80 curl as well. And one player that I always talk about in this game is that being the best striker with the most clinical finishing, particularly in finesse shots, is Samuel Eto'o. And Berbatov actually has the exact same finishing stats as Eto'o. He's got 91 finishing, the same kick and power 92, and then the same curl 80. But I have to say Eto'o did feel more clinical on the finesse shot. He hit them a little bit harder and just generally more clinical. And when I looked at his skills, so this was kind of before I put all the skills on Berbatov, I noticed Eto'o had long range curler and Berbatov didn't at the start. And I've always had a theory, just a kind of a feeling that long range curler helps finesse shots inside the box. No like proof or no strong evidence, but it's just kind of a hunch I had. So while I was in my stream, I asked my stream, does anyone else agree with this? And they said, a couple of people said yes, and people's opinions that I value said yes. So I actually went and put the long range curler on Berbatov, and I didn't actually notice an improvement really. I mean, I didn't really try many finesse shots with him, so it wasn't as the verdict's still out there really, but it wasn't a major like, oh that was the the switch flipped and I can notice straight away. So if long range curler does give a benefit, I did notice it straight away. So instead I'd probably go for long range shooting, because there were some instances where I feel like the long shots or the long range shooting would have resulted in the ball staying on target, but he did score plenty of goals from outside the box. So we'll go back to the Berbatov build, because I did try a couple of them. I also tried to build with 80 physical contact. I don't think that's necessary. It did help. I actually did notice an improvement, but I talked about before how I don't think your physical contact is important, because if you are able to hold off defenders with high physical contact for more than a couple seconds, you're going to get closed down by your defenders anyway. So it doesn't actually give you an advantage. Like, yes, you hold off the defender for longer, but you don't actually be able to do anything because you can't release the ball and you're going to get closed down. So that's why I wouldn't use that. Another skill that I think is mandatory is true passing. The first few games he couldn't pass, and then I put true passing on him and he became a very good playmaker. He only had 10 assists, but he was very important and instrumental in setting up his teammates. And actually a lot of his goals came from him playing a nice true pass as a deep line forward, being behind the play, and then playing it to the forwards, and then him following up and putting it in the back of the net, a typical kind of Berbatov goal from real life. So I was actually very glad to see that. I did put the flip flap and soul control on him. It didn't feel that very fast, but it was very important for creating the angle for the shots. I have a video on how to score these type of goals. I'll link it in the description, and it should be in the top right corner of your screen right now. Check that out if you want to kind of recreate the goals that you're seeing on screen now. And then I went for cut behind and turn, just because I like having it on a lot of my players. So actually maybe instead of long range curler, if you're not someone who really needs cut behind and turn, you can go for that instead. But if we go into his stats again, or his skills rather, he does have Marseille turn. Unfortunately he can't do like a Berba spin, but that's not, animation's not in the game. His sombrero was nice. He did a couple flicks over the defenders. Heel trick, good for setting up his teammates, obviously drill the ball into him. His first time shot was his best attribute. He scored, I don't know, I'd say out of the 40 goals he scored, 22 of them must have been just first time shots on the edge of the box, and because he's a deep line forward, it worked very well. And one of his best attributes is his offensive awareness. He's got 96 offensive awareness. If I compare him to Eric Cantona, who is also a very good player, and I think Cantona is a better player overall, I did notice Berbatov's awareness a lot more. Although there is a caveat to this. If you play Cantona in second striker in this formation, I also have a video on this formation. It's the best formation I've used this year. If you play Cantona in second striker here, he doesn't really drop too deep. He kind of stays up here. But if you play Berbatov there, I think because he's got a lot more offensive awareness, and the Konami kind of make him play more like a deep line forward, and he drops further. So if you want that, it's good. But if you want him to stay kind of further up, keep him in centre forward, because that offensive awareness will drag him back a bit further. His outside curlers are good for passing and for finishing, but I think that's expected. Also, his no-look pass, he kept doing no-look passes. I don't know if there's any benefits to them, or if it's just kind of like an aesthetic thing. Now, the interesting skill here is aerial superiority. I don't know. I don't think it was effective. There was a few instances in winning headers, but overall, like, he went up for a header with Griezmann and lost it, and it was pathetic. Like, I clipped it. It was pathetic. He did like set up a couple goals for his teammates. You know, I play an early cross into him for a knockdown, and maybe not a couple goals. I don't think I finished actually made them, but a couple chances. He missed an open goal header in the first game. We scored one in the later game. I don't think that's a major criticism of the card. It's just how heading is in this game, and he doesn't have the heading skill. And what's his heading stat? 76. He has decent heading stat. I wouldn't put the heading skill on though, just because I don't think in my 40 games or my 30 games there was 2 instances where I needed him to score a header. He missed one and he scored one. It doesn't happen very often, and to be honest, I only did it to test out the card. Not really. I wouldn't really score headers intentionally. Like, it's just, you don't need to do it in this game, but the way it plays. Now, you might have noticed in the clips that Berbatov has short sleeves and no gloves, but you can actually fix this. If you go in here and change the season to winter, the default is summer, it will give him gloves in game and long sleeves. Now, I'm away from home in this match, so I can't change it, and I actually tried to do it offline a couple times. It didn't seem it was possible to do offline, but I can confirm it works. I just checked here because this is a nighttime summer game. He actually still has the long sleeves, but I can confirm you can change it in divisions. I did it a few times, so I'll give this guy his free win here. And based off his team, I think he needs it, so we'll give him the free win and he can try to complete that event. Yeah, overall, a very good card. I do think Eric Cantona is a better player overall, but the biggest benefit of this guy is his attack awareness. Cantona is better in pretty much every area, but the attacking awareness on Berbatov is interesting, and actually did result in him, not just for the second striker dropping deeper, but even as a centre forward, there was just a lot of times where I felt like he was just giving me plenty of options. But there's also another deep line forward in the pack, and it is Bergkamp, and I actually think Bergkamp looks a lot better stat-wise than Berbatov, and he also has Blitz curler. So we'll pull up the build now on eFootball Hub, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is the build I would recommend on Bergkamp, and you can see the reason it's better is just because he has the 95 finishing, he has more curl, he has more, actually doesn't have more kicking power, but it's very similar, and he has a lot better low pass. And his speed is quite a bit lower than Berbatov's, but trust me, this Berbatov doesn't need speed. I'm surprised he has a lot, and I only did it just to get the kicking power on Berbatov high. But like, this Bergkamp has great balance, and of course he does have Blitz curler too. So this is the build I would go for, but if you put another Fantasista boost on, you can actually do something interesting. You get the finishing down one lower, and then get that dribbling up a bit more, take off that aerial strength, and get the 99 ball control. So Berbatov is someone who, you know, everyone talks about his first touch. But Bergkamp actually has the better ball control stat. But Berbatov's first touch, actually, I didn't mention it a second ago, is very good. It did take me a while to notice it though, because I wasn't playing with him any differently. I was playing with him like I usually would. But then after a couple of games, I said, all right, let me just stop. You know, whenever I pass the Berbatov doing a first time shot or a first time pass, let me actually just try control it and see how it does. And he was very effective. It actually resulted in a couple nice goals or a couple chances to kind of keep the momentum play. Like, I felt like every time he took the ball, he was ready to do his next action very quickly, like pass, shoot, or dribble. But I do think the ball control on Berbatov felt very good, but if you're looking at Bergkamp's stats here, Bergkamp should be even better. So for the skills on Bergkamp, this is what I'd recommend. I'd go for flip flap, cut behind and turn, Marseille turn, fighting spirit, and then for the last skill, it's really up to you. You could go heel trick, especially if you're going to play him centre forward, similar to how Berbatov has it. And I actually like, I think I have it on my Cantona as well. I really like heel trick on centre forwards, or you could go for weighted pass if you think you're going to play him attacking midfielder as an inactive playstyle. I'd probably play him up front, but if you do want to play him in attacking mid, go for weighted pass. And it actually does mean if you have both of these guys, you might want to put super sub on someone like Berbatov, or I'd probably start Bergkamp. He probably is better, and then you can go super sub on Berbatov just to complement it. Although there is an element of, if you're desperate for a goal, you might want the Blitz curler still on the pitch at the end, just so you can have that kind of in your arsenal. So maybe you want to put the super sub on Bergkamp, so you have that Blitz curler when you kind of need it in the crunch time. Okay, so the last player in the pack is Dennis Law, and I actually think this guy is very good in the game because I've used his previous version, and I've had a few people come into my stream and say this guy is really good, some even saying he's better than Eto. So here is his build. You can see we have 95 finishing, 95 offensive awareness, and then the 90 speed. That's pretty much mostly what we're going for. He does have quite a bit lower kicking power, so that would be kind of a bit of a like indication why he's not considered top tier by most of the community. But I think his overall play is very strong. He's very well rounded, I find. And he's good or best in a formation where you have another goal scorer beside him, and this guy is kind of to link up the play. If you put the shooting booster or any booster that gives you a finishing, you can actually do something interesting with the builds, because you can take off the one shooting and then put it into dribbling, and you get a big boost in dribbling because now you're taking the ball control and tight possession to 85. So I think he looks like a very nice card, and if we look at his skills, I think he has a decent starting bunch. So here are the skills I'd recommend for him. So I'd give him double touch and flip flap, just because he has soul control already, and he does have the very high weak foot, so it will help for that ball roll shot that I like to do. He does have already heel trick, one touch pass, and true passing, so that's why I'm kind of saying he's good for the link up play. He's got all the passing skills you would want on your centre forwards. So for the other skills, I would go for Marseille turn and cut behind and turn, and then depending on if you're going to start him or not, or use him as a super sub, go for fighting spirit, or super sub. I think this guy is an interesting candidate for super sub just because he's got the very high awareness and jumping, and he is quite fast. Those are the attributes that you want on your super subs, because the ball, when you play a pass, it's not just the passing ability of the player making it, like say Pirlo, it's also the stats on who's receiving it, if that kind of determine the likelihood of an interception. Sometimes you'll notice, why is my defender intercepting this pass? Probably because you have a striker with really good pace and really good attacking awareness with super sub boost that's on the receiving end of it, so it's more likely, Konami think, it should be more likely to go through to him. So that's why I think Dennis Law would be a good candidate for the super sub. So overall, I actually think this is a very good pack. I think the community is kind of looking at it as a bit mid, but I think this is a good opportunity if you want a big time epic striker and you don't want to spend too much money. This might not be a bad idea, because you're going to get any of these three will work very well. Berbatov, who I used amazingly, you've seen at the start of the video, he's probably the worst player in the pack, and he was amazing. So even if you just got him, as long as you don't mind deep line forwards, I think it's probably one of the better playstyles. You'll be very happy with the pack. So I am going to be uploading a video probably tomorrow. I might even get it up tonight, that kind of talks about how to best use your coins and the probabilities and odds when you open packs, what you can expect. So if you have 4,000 coins and you have 3 legends in this pack, what can you expect to get with that 4,000 coins? So if you want to wait for that video to see your odds and then what your budget is, check that out, and it'll kind of give you a clearer picture on what the actual odds are on these packs, because I think a lot of people misunderstand the statistics, and they think if they have 7,000 coins they're guaranteed to get what they want.